These are this afternoon's top stories. Sankis to pursue geothermal energy. Guyanese cocaine swallowers caught at JFK Airport, and Paris police widen their search for a ninth attacker. Good afternoon and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Wednesday, 18th November 2015. I'm Carla Berridge. In national news, Public Infrastructure Minister Honorable Ian Liburd capitalized on yesterday's sitting of the National Assembly to give an update on his administration's pursuance of geothermal energy. He said based on the recently discussed plans, the geothermal power plant is expected to be commissioned by 2020.
In April 2016, we anticipate the launch of slim hole drilling, a phase slated for completion in approximately 6 months. Important to note, Mr. Speaker, that all this is being done at absolutely no cost to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. A geothermal workshop will be facilitated in November 2016, which will focus on the launch of grants, subsidies, and concession loans. Then, in 2017, there is a proposed launch of commercial-sized demonstration well drilling and the anticipation of the geothermal resource, final assessment and power plant in 2018.
Just last week, Minister Liburd engaged a team from Terranov Exploration Consultants who are working on the project. On Tuesday, the tenure of office of Prime Minister Bill 2015 had its first reading in the National Assembly. That signified the first step by the Honorable Dr. Timothy-led administration to implement term limits for the post of Prime Minister. While there is no set date for the bill's second reading and subsequent debates, it is expected that that bill will gather much debate in the interim. Minister of State within the Ministry of Health, Community Development, Gender Affairs and Social Services, the Honorable Wendy Phipps, will be today's guest on Working for You on ZIZ Radio. Senator Phipps is expected to give an account of her stewardship by addressing matters relating to gender affairs, issues in community development and health. She will also speak on various essential social services that the government is providing to the people. Working for You is broadcast live every Wednesday on ZIZ, Win FM and Sugar City Rock from 1:30 to 3 p.m. and rebroadcast on Freedom FM and Vaughan Radio on Thursdays from 7:30 to 9 a.m. and 10:30 to 12 p.m. respectively. On Wednesday, new entrants to the civil service participated in a workshop organized by the Human Resource Management Department of the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Held at the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA building, that workshop featured remarks by Oline Knight-Warner, Chief Personnel Officer Torfrida Rochester, and Director General of the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service, Lesroy Williams. The department hosts 14 similar workshops throughout the year.
For the holiday season, let ZIZ Radio and Television help you show your customers you care. For a very competitive price, companies can wish their deserving customers happy holidays and thank them for their patronage over the past year. Call ZIZ at 465-2621 or 465-2623 and make arrangements for us to come to your workplace and record your TV holiday greetings. It's that time of year to show your customers you care. The deadline for the recording of Christmas greetings is November 30th.
A lot of people think that fast bikes are cool, and the girls sure like the guys who ride them. But like so many things about life, you gotta be careful. Having sex without a condom is like riding a bike without a helmet. It's just plain dumb. It's okay to have fun as long as you're smart about it. My name is Daniel the Lion Fortress, and I'm different, and I'm making a difference.
Live up, love, protect, respect.
On to news on the regional scene. St. Lucia's Transport Ministry is pushing to close a loophole which requires only insurance documentation to clear motor vehicles at the ports. More in this report.
St. Lucia's Motor Vehicle Licensing Act stipulates motorists are required to register a vehicle to legally operate on St. Lucia's roadways. However, a worrying loophole continues to be exploited by motor vehicle importers.
What we've also discovered through the traffic department is that there are vehicles being landed in St. Lucia, and once the vehicles leave the port, those vehicles, some of them may never pass through the licensing authority. So we are currently in the process of reviewing our procedures to ensure that we capture every single vehicle that is operating on the roads in St. Lucia.
Transport officials estimate tens of thousands of unregistered motor vehicles are currently operating on St. Lucia's roadways, amounting to hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue to the state. The traffic department in the police force says the issue does pose a threat to national security.
It creates a problem where you find you have a wide section of persons who are going under the system by not paying their annual registration. Those persons are defrauding the system by actually not paying their annual registration. And you have a number of vehicles that maybe have insurance, like I said previously, but those vehicles are not insured. And according to the rules and the act and the laws, traffic laws, all vehicles must be registered, they must be insured on a yearly basis.
The Ministry of Transport is engaging key stakeholders, including the St. Lucia Air and Seaports Authority and the Traffic Department, to draft new legislation to strengthen the policy.
Before you clear that vehicle, you also have to come in with the vehicle particulars to register, and then you'd be allowed to clear your vehicle. So at least there would be some kind of registration on the vehicle. We would know that that vehicle is actually landed in St. Lucia and operating on the roads. Because when you look at the legislation, you are not supposed to be on the road without having proper registration anyway.
Motorists are urged to update and register their vehicles at the Ministry of Transport. The Traffic Department warns fines of up to 2,000 EC dollars or 6 months imprisonments for unregistered vehicles will be enforced. Rihani Isidore, HTS News Force.
A Guyanese woman who ingested more than 100 cocaine pellets before boarding a plane from Georgetown to JFK has been arrested. Here's more.
26-year-old Shireen Giddens is in the United States facing drug trafficking charges after she passed a total of 105 pellets which she swallowed before boarding a flight from Guyana to JFK on November 9. The woman was subject to a Customs and Border Protection examination where her luggage was searched and a body pat down for drugs. After she was further questioned, the woman said she could no longer hold the pellets and requested to use the restroom. She is still in custody at the Brooklyn Metro Detention Center. And only today, 2 men appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Judy Latchman and were refused bail after being charged for conspiring to traffic cocaine. 35-year-old Dwayne Adams of Golden Grove on the east bank of Demerara admitted to swallowing some 25 cocaine pellets, which amounted to 848 grams. During the court hearing, Adams pleaded guilty to the charge and after advice from his attorney later pleaded not guilty and also to ownership of the drugs. He also denied conspiring with 44-year-old Herbert Smith of East Rumveld. Smith also entered a not guilty plea. Reports suggest that the men were occupying a hotel room at the Alpha International Hotel in Ogle on the east coast of Demerara on Friday last when canoe ranks invaded the room after being tipped off. Both men have been remanded to prison until December 7. Let's tell you now that a wanted bulletin was issued for this man seen on your screen. Trevor Anthony Amsterdam is wanted in relation to the ongoing investigations into the murder of Jerome Simon, which occurred Tuesday last at Baggsville on the east bank of Demerara. Anyone with information that may lead to the arrest of Trevor Amsterdam is asked to contact the nearest police station.
Internationally, police in Paris have widened their search for a 9th person believed to be associated with Friday's terrorist attacks in France. More in this report.
The investigation into the Paris terror attacks is gathering pace, with police now suspecting 9 assailants were involved in the killings. 7 attackers died on Friday night, but video footage suggests that 2 other men were directly involved and escaped. New photos of one of them, the Belgian fugitive Salah Abdel-Salam, have been issued. He was stopped by French police 3 times before escaping back to Brussels. His whereabouts and that of the other unnamed suspect are unknown. However, French police are making progress in unravelling the plot, which left 129 people dead. Salah Abdel-Salam is said to have reserved rooms in this Paris suburb hotel where plastic tubes and syringes were found. He and his accomplices are also said to have used this second property to prepare for the attacks. French police also want to identify this man, saying he was one of the suicide bombers at the Stade de France football stadium. A judicial official has confirmed the photo is the man suspected of having registered in Greece as a refugee, but the name on the passport appears not to belong to the suicide bomber.
The fight against ISIL and the war for Syria continue to drive refugees to Europe. Greece's Prime Minister is in Turkey for talks with his Turkish counterpart on the refugee crisis. Al Jazeera's Bernard Smith reports.
Along Turkey's Aegean coast, November is so far unseasonably mild and calm. But for these refugees heading to the Greek island of Lesbos, the journey is still perilous. Already this morning, 14 people have drowned in the waters here, 7 of them children. Most of the people in this group are from Afghanistan, a few are Pakistani.
I'm not interested to go to Europe. Europe is not better for me. Afghanistan is better for me, but they take Afghanistan from me. They do not let me to be here in Afghanistan.
Most are escaping from conflict. Some are running from the poverty instability creates.
In Pakistan, we can't work freely because of you and Americans. Okay?
Go to Europe. People dream. Europe is better life.
Threats from the Coast Guard are a brief deterrent. But there are thousands of kilometres of coastline to patrol. Some will always get through. It would take a major naval operation to stop the flow of rubber dinghies that carried more than 200,000 refugees in October alone. That's according to UN estimates. Most are Syrians. These were caught hiding in the bushes, waiting for their smuggler.
Syria is better. Syria is my home. Yes, my land, my home. I love Syria.
Abdullah says what everyone we talk to says. They'd rather be in their home country than crossing the sea, including this man and his 16-day-old son.
The local security forces tell us they're involved in this endless cycle. If they intercept any refugees, they'll register them and check their name against a list of wanted people, and then they're bussed further inland to a reception centre. And if they're Syrian, they'll then be set free. And many of them will just come back down here and try again to cross to Greece.
All along this coastline, you see the human capital of Syria and other unstable places draining away. Most of the people we met were educated and eager to contribute to society. The resolve they've called on to make this journey will be needed again when they get to Europe. Bernard Smith, Al Jazeera, on Turkey's Aegean coast.
Taking a look at the weather. Temperatures today will peak at 79 degrees Fahrenheit with a gentle breeze blowing from the east at 12 miles per hour. A weak tropical wave is expected to affect the Leeward Islands. Therefore, skies today will be partly cloudy with a brief passing shower. Tonight, conditions will be fair to partly cloudy with isolated brief showers. Sunset today will be at 5:35 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:18 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kyla Barrage.